Well, mobility industry is undergoing through a massive change. And I believe that in 5 years, there's going to be a lot of movement. More people are going to move around the city in a more sustainable way.
Welcome to our podcast at Temi. Temi is an international software development company that designs, builds, and delivers software for sustainable businesses and promising startups. Today, we've got with us our incredible guest, Guillermo Campoamor, CEO and co-founder of Meep. Guillermo, hi, how are you doing?
Good. Thanks for having me. I'm doing good. Thank you. How are you?
Everything's great, thank you. And before we start talking about Meep, can you please tell us about something about yourself? Who's Guillermo Campoamor? Something maybe not so many people know.
Okay. Secret answer. Well, I'm a young entrepreneur. I've been in this adventure of creating sustainable mobility since 2017, and before that I think maybe not so many people knew about. I was actually working in the embassy of Spain in Ukraine. So we have a common theme, and I was living in Kiev back in the days.
That's really great and interesting to know. And in Meep, you're saying that you combine all type of transportation from the public transport to ride sharing. How are you actually doing this? What the application about?
Yes. So we started the Meep group of friends and some investors back in the days, just to put all the transport modes into a single platform. And basically, from a user perspective, is to give the people a tool where they can plan, book, and pay without leaving the app. That's the main target and the main goal for us. But for cities, municipalities, operators, other stakeholders in the mobility ecosystem, we provide connectivity, software connectivity between different modes. And we are capable of doing so by connecting different APIs to our backend. We have created a complex engine that basically gathers information from different sources, organize it, and send it back to different apps and different solutions to help these isolated software solutions to dialogue together, talk together, and connect the different information.
So say if I if I use Meep application, I could create a road and use public transportation and also book a scooter, kind of bird scooter, and it will be booked seamlessly with Meep application.
Yeah, that's correct. It depends on the technological capabilities of the different operators, but the operators that are fully integrated in our solution, the user can do everything from planning to payments, and the user can get into a bus, scan a QR code, or use an NFC card within Meep, pay for the ride, get off the bus, and jump into a kick scooter. Everything seamless.
And you're saying also municipalities could get an advantage out of it. How does it actually work?
Yes. So we develop solutions for private operators. We create agency branded solutions also for municipalities. So a municipality can issue an RFP and ask for a mobility as a service platform or a layer of connecting different mobility operators, and we can provide that for them. And they are the ones that at the end they will benefit from having this kind of connectivity system, because they're going to be the owners of the platform and they're going to be the admins of all the integrations. So they can have the whole spectrum of their mobility, both public and private, into a single platform. So they will be able to see all the transactions, all the data, even set certain type of rules or offers for increasing the engagement and the usage of the app.
Right, and you are gathering a lot of different data that you could analyze, and you've created a kind of analytical platform, right? You're calling it Meepath, right? Could you tell a little bit more to whom you can provide this data and how do you analyze it?
Yes. Well, at the same time that we launched it back in the days, our main platform, that is Meep, we started in a parallel workflow the building and the development of our data analytics tool that is called Meepath. And with Meepath, our idea was basically the same as in our mobility as a service solution. Have different data entry points and collect all the information, analyze it, and make predictions. So we are testing this in a couple of places outside our platform. And with our platform, we normally offer this tool as a part of our deployments. So if we arrive in a city, we establish the mobility as a service layer and the data layer. The analysis that we do in this solution is basically to help the different stakeholders of the mobility ecosystem to better understand their role and the role of the other players in order to have that picture. We need to understand how the people are moving from A to B, and also how the people are interacting with the different modes of transport. So the way that we share the information, because this is a sensitive issue and data privacy is very important for us, it always depends on the different types of deployments. There are certain locations that all the stakeholders agree to share between them anonymized data, so we can freely share the information, always keeping in mind that every user is an anonymous user, so we don't provide data of our users without their consent. And these reports are basically are made to improve the mobility overall. There are other places where these agreements, these previous agreements, they don't exist, or the different stakeholders, they don't reach an agreement to share their data. So we share the data with each stakeholder will have their own data, and sometimes enhanced by different sources of data that maybe we believe that is better for them. But this is how we do. It's basically two different types of collaboration, and we encourage in every deployment to share as much information as possible to create better connected ecosystems.
Well, this data management system looks like a pretty powerful instrument, and maybe you could share the case how maybe one of stakeholder could improve the service using this data.
Yes, sure. For example, if we are looking from a PTO perspective, a public transit operator, a bus company, a subway company, you can choose. They, most of the times, in the traditional scheme of things, they have a fixed route, basically a traditional fixed route that covers the entire city. They normally have inputs of their current users. In the case of the bus, at least in the countries that we operate, the PTO only has the information about the validation of their users. That means they only know the entry points of their users, but they usually don't know where the users get off the bus. So they have a origin destination matrix that is kind of, let's say, halfway through. We help them if we know where the people get other modes or how they commute from their home to their workplace or from their home to other points of interest for them. We can help these PTOs to complete and better create this matrix that is essential for cost savings and understanding the demand of the bus service. This is from a PTO perspective. So we create in the map of the city, for example, the city of Madrid, where we are based, we have a heat map, and we can analyze the demand of the different transports and the places in the city where the municipality needs to increase the transport modes or reorganize the situation. If you are, for example, the owner of a car sharing platform, we can provide you certain areas where you should relocate your vehicles in the city. So having like a 360 perspective of the whole mobility of the city can help you make more efficient your operations and also understand better your clients.
So the municipality of Madrid is actually already taking advantage of Meepath.
In this case, no, it's one of the main operators in Madrid, which is taking. But for example, the municipality of another important city in the north of Spain, Zaragoza, is using Meepath, and they are understanding better their mobility needs.
So you are not covering entire country; you're expanding more like city by city. And in which cities you are actually operating already?
Well, we are active in more than 20 cities in 5 different countries. So we have all kinds of sizes, types of cities, not only in Spain, but in Malta, in Cyprus, in Portugal. We are doing 2 projects in Mexico. So we are covering a huge spectrum of cities with a car-centric mentality, more public transport oriented, all types.
Great, got it. And probably let's now get to the very beginning. You started in the 2017, I believe. It's already 5 years. Like, what? How did your product? How did your MVP look in the very beginning? With which features did you start?
Well, from the very beginning, we really focus on our OTP, our journey planner, and from that journey planner, we built the base of our solution. We really think that the best way to move around cities is to know the different alternatives. Sometimes the people believe that the best way to go from A to B is their traditional route. But if you apply the algorithm, the different variables in the mobility equation, sometimes you can be surprised about the results. So we started from a very basic journey planner, and we start adding new features along the way. Till now, we have kind of a complex system with additional features like gamifications, promotions, cross-selling offers, or different modes of transport. And for example, even last year, we did a pilot with AENA, that is a airport operator, and we managed to integrate the flight schedule with all the timetables and the gates inside our journey planner.
And how did your team look in the very beginning? You're not a technical founder, right? So how did you met your CTO, and how did you deal with the technical team?
Well, I think that's one of the keys of growing and the being a startup and scale up. Is basically we started the four of us. I knew one of my co-founders, and he was the one that met our CTO back in the days. And from back then, we were 4. Now we are 53 people. So we grew a lot, and the team now is huge. Most of the people are technical, so most of the people are developers. And in the very beginning, we rely a lot on software development companies. We work with different freelancers. So back in the days, managing the team was also managing providers, because they were part of the team, but they were also outside the company.
Got it. Let's probably speak a little bit about the future. How do you see the industry in maybe 5 years? Which plans do you have in mind?
Well, mobility industry is undergoing through a massive change. A lot of effort is being put in the idea of changing the way that we consume transportation to a more efficient and a less invasive paradigm. And I believe that in 5 years, there's going to be a lot of movement. More people are going to move around the city in a more sustainable way. And it's also gonna lead us to concentration in terms of companies. There are a lot of companies now doing or creating competing services, and more and more we are going to be part of this concentration process, and I believe some of the services that private companies are providing now, we are gonna see more public services offering this. When I'm referring basically to all these type of sharing services that are going to be part of a public offer.
How are you going to expand? You've mentioned that you are going to have a lot of many competitors, so you probably something have in mind. How will you? Which advantage will you have over the time?
Well, building what we have built is tough. It took us almost 2 years to have the MVP. So after these 2 years, we've seen a huge growth in revenue and in projects, and we are specialized in certain regions. So for us, it's very important to move to Latin America. We are now doing some projects, so we will increase our presence there and keep working in Southern Europe that has a different transport ecosystem than Central Europe or Northern Europe, with closed transportation networks rather than open loop networks. So we are gonna keep focus on locations, our territories, and also keep working the way that we are working.
Guillermo, thank you so much. And at the end, could you please share a couple of advices for starting entrepreneurs for their success?
Well, this is a tricky question because every time they ask me so, I think there are many approaches to this long run of entrepreneurship. But from my perspective, I would rely on big players to move and try to expand your business as a part of their offering. So making the right partnerships, I think, is key for the success of any startup and any entrepreneur. And in the very beginning, I would focus on the cost-saving approach. Spending too much on marketing or pilots or projects sometimes is counterproductive. So both advices, I would say, right partnerships and keep an eye on costs.
Thanks. That's really brilliant advices. Guillermo, thank you so much for an incredible interview.
Thank you for inviting me.